Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. In the studio lights of the chase, Anne Hegerty is every inch the formidable governess. Clad in a steely grey suit, lips pursed and eyes narrowed behind horn-rimmed glasses, she radiates precision, power and poise. Contestants fear her intellect. Audiences adore her sharp comebacks. Producers bank on her consistency. But off-camera, in the quiet solitude of her North London flat, Anne's world is one of solitude, structure, and a strict set of rules that keep her grounded. The viewers see the governess. But who is Anne? The tabloids love to speculate. A blurry photo at a red carpet. A casual mention of my partner in an interview that was misquoted. Suddenly, Anne Hegerty was supposedly married. The truth? She had never been married, never even had a long-term relationship. I'm not against love, she'd once told a Sunday supplement. But I'd need someone who understands me, and more importantly, someone I can understand. When a cheeky fan tweeted a photoshopped wedding invite for Anne and fellow chaser Mark Labbett, jokingly titled Brains and Brawn, the image went viral. Anne laughed. Mark laughed. ITV had to put out a statement denying any romance. Behind the scenes, however, Anne was stung. Not by the joke itself, but by the sudden awareness that her private, carefully constructed life had become public property. She wasn't lonely, she was independent. But something about the world's need to pair her off left an ache she couldn't quite name. Anne's flat resembled a cross between a Victorian library and a bunker. Floor-to-ceiling bookshelves lined her walls, everything from medieval history to astrophysics. Her pantry was immaculately organized. Tea, tins, and toast sat in neat military rows. Anne had always been like this. As a child growing up in Westminster, she'd struggled to fit in. The chaos of a classroom made her withdraw. Teachers called her gifted but difficult. She couldn't handle change. She memorized things obsessively. She corrected adults with facts they didn't want to hear. "You'll make a wonderful librarian one day," one teacher had once muttered. But Anne didn't want to file information. She wanted to conquer it. At 17, she read her first Encyclopaedia Britannica from cover to cover. By 22, she could rattle off the complete list of English monarchs backwards. Her brain, she knew, wasn't just a gift. It was a weapon. It was 2003 when everything changed. After years of struggling with deadlines, appointments, and unpredictable emotional crashes, Anne finally sat in a small private clinic in North London and heard 3 words that knocked the air out of her lungs. You have autism. Specifically, Asperger's syndrome. She was 46. Her first reaction was relief. The things she blamed herself for, her difficulty making friends, her aversion to change, her reliance on rituals, weren't moral failings. They were neurological. Her second reaction was grief. 46 years, she told the psychologist softly. That's a long time to walk around not knowing who you really are. Armed with answers, Anne began to rebuild her self-understanding. She read medical journals, joined online forums, even began speaking at conferences on late-diagnosed women. She wasn't broken. She was different. In 2010, when the Chase casting director scouted for brilliant minds, Anne was hesitant. She'd been working as a freelance proofreader and quizzer, content in her structured solitude. But Mark Labbett recommended her personally. "She's terrifying," he'd joked. "Perfect for TV." When she auditioned, Anne delivered an impromptu quiz rant on the misclassification of Pluto. Producers were stunned. The governess was born that day. A strict, no-nonsense intellectual who punished contestants with facts and withering stares. Anne embraced the role, but it wasn't a performance. It was a polished version of the woman who had always existed beneath the surface. The fame came fast. Supermarket selfies, paparazzi at quiz conventions, fan mail, so much fan mail. Some were sweet. One child wrote, "You're my favorite chaser because you're smart and you wear suits like a superhero." Some were strange. A man once proposed marriage by mail, enclosing a ring and a guide to his local Tesco. And some were cruel. "You must be lonely. Do you even feel things? Bet your cat's scared of you." Anne tried to shake it off, but late at night, when the flat was too quiet and her thoughts too loud, she wondered if there was truth in their mockery. Then she'd make tea, sort her books, recite the names of all 118 chemical elements until the voices silenced. Anne wasn't glamorous. She didn't attend film premieres. She didn't vacation in the Maldives. But she had her rituals. Sunday mornings were for crosswords and marmalade. Mondays were laundry. Tuesdays, classical music and red wine. Her closest friend, a librarian named Joey, visited every other Thursday. They rarely spoke, just read in companionable silence. Her greatest joy came from mentoring young women with autism. She corresponded with a dozen across the UK. She advised them on interviews, anxiety, navigating university life. One girl, Katie, sent Anne a hand-painted card that read, "Because of you, I stopped pretending to be normal." It made Anne cry. She framed it. In 2023, the marriage rumour resurfaced when Anne attended a quiz gala with a mystery man. He was tall, bespectacled, with a dry wit and deep laugh. The tabloids exploded. Anne's secret husband. Governess no more. Anne found love at last. The man, it turned out, was her cousin from Australia, a university professor visiting the UK. Anne found it hilarious. But something about seeing herself in headlines again, with words like wife, romance and passion, forced her to reckon with an old ache. She wasn't unloved, but she was unpartnered. And part of her, though she'd never say it aloud, longed to know what it felt like to be truly seen by one person who got it. Who got her. That winter, Anne wrote something she never shared publicly. A letter to the girl she used to be. "Dear Anne, you are not weird. You are not broken. One day, people will celebrate your mind. One day, the world will try to understand you, not change you. Until then, keep reading. Keep being precise. Keep being you. The pain won't last forever. Love. Me." She placed the letter in a sealed envelope and tucked it into her first edition of the Oxford Companion to English Literature. In 2024, Anne surprised everyone when she announced a one-woman show at the Edinburgh Fringe. Titled The Governess Unmasked, it was part monologue, part quiz, part autobiography. The show was a hit. Audiences laughed, gasped, even cried. Anne spoke of her diagnosis, of the loneliness and triumph, of finding joy in small routines and pride in large victories. At the final performance, she read Katie's card aloud. And when she finished, the theatre rose to its feet. By 2025, Anne Hegerty wasn't just a chaser. She was a speaker, an advocate, a mentor. She had helped launch a scholarship for late-diagnosed women on the spectrum. She published a memoir titled Don't Chase Normal. It became a bestseller. She still did the chase, of course. But now she walked onto the set with a new confidence, a softer smile, a twinkle that hadn't been there before. She wasn't the same woman who had entered the clinic at 46, desperate for answers. She was Anne Hegerty, autistic, unmarried, unapologetic, unstoppable.